I've had a fun day. I seem to annoy everyone on the FM show. I don't know. I'm just like that's yeah. I think we gotta have some perspective, and apparently that's not allowed. So, but here's the thing. I guess I need to put some perspective on what I said, because I don't know. I just ought to not respond to YouTube comments as well, right? But someone called me a donut. I can't not respond to being called a donut. So yeah, I gotta respond in some form. But I think the thing is, like, I was trying to make the point that even if they knew 10 days ago, 12 days ago, it doesn't mean that they can do anything about it, right? Like, I think that's lost on some people. Like, or even if they could, like, there's a difference between can do something about it and, like, yeah, some people haven't worked for very large organizations with big partnerships. Covered in sugar and filled with jam. That's certainly a good kind of donut. Like EAFC definitely doesn't care about that. But I think like, here's the thing, right? I think Sports Interactive probably do care. I bet Sports Interactive are gutted about how this has gone about. Like, I've met people at Sports Interactive. They don't not care about their player base. They're very passionate about the game and very passionate about their player base. It's not. I don't think anyone who, like, suggests that they were malicious or corporate greed or anything like that is ridiculous. Like, this is going to hurt them more than anything. I think it's a crazy, crazy suggestion. Very much they push back against the idea of DLC and, not DLC, but, like, loot boxes and things like that. They could have made this a crypto game or a loot box game years ago, right? Anything you missed about FM in the last few days? No, don't worry about it. Just come back in a few months. SI are an embarrassment. I mean, I'm sure they're fully aware. Like, come on, I think we have to have some perspective here, right? Like, I'm sure they are fully aware. Anyone in that studio is sat at home, like, this weekend feeling super glum, are they? Like, I'm sure they are pretty down on the whole situation and had hoped to release a game as well, right? Like, we got to be realistic about this. And I think a lot of people aren't. A lot of people, Sports Interactive, blah, 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 blah. I don't know why it's Richard Nixon, but okay, it's Richard Nixon. Sports Interactive are bad. They stole our game, delayed it 6 months. So yeah, and look at Cyberpunk now; it's a great game. Maybe it might even be. You can't say it's Miles. Like, none of us know, right? Like, why? You can't just blame him. It might be nothing to do with him. It might be someone in Sega in Japan. Might be a publishing partner like the Premier League. You just don't know, right? You'd like to know what issues they're having in FM25. I'm sure we'd all like to know, but I don't think they're under any obligation to tell us. Like, I mean, and if they do tell us, what, it doesn't make a difference, right? It could be anything. It could be something highly technical. It's probably something highly tech. It's probably just bugs or something, right? Like, it's probably bugs or something. Like, it's not. I mean, I get the desire to know, but I don't think we necessarily need to. Like, there are disconnects there, and anyone who's worked in any big corporation knows that they won't get sorted that way. It gives it the bigger one more than willing to take the praise. Well, who knows? Maybe, I mean, I bet he is more disappointed than anyone. Like, I'm sure it's his game in a way, right? Like, I don't think Miles is sat at home smiling away this weekend. Come on, he gets more abuse than anyone as well. He actually takes a lot of abuse. I don't think he gets all the praise alone. No, he takes a lot of the flack as well. A new NFL mobile app and got death threats. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, right? It's just a game. Like, I know it's a very important game to some people, but it's like the current game is still there. A more technical insight. Yeah, I think it would be good to get more technical insight, but I don't think they're any under obligation to give it necessarily. Particularly if they are the market leader by some way. Like, it might not be. It isn't. Well, someone on Twitter is trying to tell me it's related to the implementation of women's football. What did Ricardo say? New graphics engine does not match old engine. Something might. Yeah, exactly, Ricardo. We don't know. Like, so, I mean, some people are criticizing me because I was making equivalents to a data leak. All right, it might not be a data leak, but, like, I mean, what happened? So let me give a hypothetical example, right? They realized that they were doing some testing because they have some testers. They don't get it the mass testing that they do, and they realized, like, about a quarter of they realized. They noticed some players were never retiring, and they looked in their, like, a long-term save, and they were like, "Why is Ronaldo still playing at 70?" Right? Imagine this is the bug. It's a hypothetical bug, but imagine this is the bug, right? And they're like, "Okay, we'll fix it. There's got to be something wrong in Cristiano Ronaldo's data set." Right, but it'll only take a day or two, and we'll work it out. Right, 2 weeks ago, that's the situation. Forward a week, and they go, the base. There's something wrong in the base code. It's not just Cristiano Ronaldo. It's a quarter of the players' games have a 50% chance of never retiring and playing on forever, and it's also causing them to their attributes to fluctuate in ways that they shouldn't, or them to do strange things in the match engine. We didn't notice it before. And you're like, well, and we don't know what the problem is. We thought it was a problem in Ronaldo's data set. It's not a problem in Ronaldo's data set. It's a problem in the base code. It's a problem in how C+ and C# communicates, right? Like, it suddenly goes from a 1-day fix to a 2-month fix. That's it. That's the point I'm trying to convey. And for some people, that's not a thing, right? Like, things happen in 10 days. I guess it would be match engine. Assume they would have shown it. Yeah, probably is. Probably is match engine. It might be that they realised that the match engine doesn't look as good. Like, it could be based on the feedback that they got after the last announcement, right? They could have been hoping that the UI or something would sell the game, and they're worried about people's response to it. Maybe. And of course, that requires gameplay hours and whatever. But there are so many new things and changes in the game that anyone says it's because of that is unless they work there, is just trying to look to blame that. It could be one of 300 things, 400 things, 500 things that are not women's football. So anyone who says it's women's football is maliciously putting that theory forwards. I hope what I'm saying now will make sense, because I feel like maybe I didn't make sense on the FM pod. I tried to adapt the old match engine to play the new graphics. Yeah, I think so, Ricardo. I think so, definitely. If you watch the Unity video, that's almost certainly the case. I think that's it, right? I think a lot of people are disappointed, and I'm equally disappointed. But I don't need to turn my disappointment into anger, and I don't need to turn my I don't need to turn my disappointment into anger, and I certainly don't need to target that anger towards anyone on the dev team anywhere, right? Maybe the way in which they've done it is wrong, but it doesn't matter. We all make mistakes in our jobs. I get the people who have issue with them putting it up for pre-order, but they are saying that you can get a refund. It's not like they keep making you stick to that pre-order, and that's going to cost them more than they would. Anyone who suggests they did that to get money out of people, I don't think so. It's going to cost them more to go through that process. I think that's the problem. He also has some questions in his Discord about any questions people had for SI. Yeah, I don't know if the SI will answer, though. They're busy. They don't want to commit to anything. Here's the thing, right? They might... the fact that... The problem is, people are asking them to be more transparent. They try to be more transparent and try to, give some info. And it's almost bitten them in the butt, right? Miles out. I think it's a bit extreme. I don't think any of us are in a position to comment on the job status of anyone at that company. We don't even know if it's on him, right? My bet it's Sega. My bet it's on Sega and partners. In which case, it's out the hands of the studio. You're working with a publisher who operates in an entirely different time zone and culture, business culture. I don't know how many people. Parental tones. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Yeah, I feel like I'm less disappointed than other people, but probably because I think I've been getting more. I think I've been getting more angry at the responses than the fact it's delayed, which is probably not healthy for me. But generally, why? I don't need to be angry about it. I can play Dragon Age or whatever. I can play my Bill Barrel save for a few more months. For me, content-wise, it's actually not bad. I got some cool videos lined up that I wasn't going to have time to release, and now I do, which is pretty cool. And be trashing them for lying and set them. So yeah, if they showed a game, let's say they showed something 2 years ago, which was didn't remember what game was it? It wasn't Alien Isolation. It might have been Alien Colonial Marines. Alien Isolation was fine. It might have been Alien Colonial Marines. There was an Alien game. They showed the game, and then it didn't end. Or No Man's Sky as well, right? They made promises and then couldn't keep them. So then what, right? People with stupid comments wanting heads to roll. Yeah, why would you? You don't no, unless you work. Maybe someone in the studio can say that. I can say that about my boss at my profession. I'm not going to say that. Certainly not on stream, for the record. But, I can probably say that about my boss because I have inside knowledge of what going... And I know who's responsible and what he's responsible for and what other people are responsible for. I have more than one boss anyway, but, I can't say... Twitter, YouTube, whatever. I look at the comments on the FM show video today. There's so many people angry at me. Like people calling me an SI shiller, like I've been paid or whatever, and I'm on a leash from SI. Not really. Like I'm disappointed. I think I think it was bad that they did announce it 10 days ago, but I don't think, you know, like it's not that part of it is not the catastrophe. Like much worse is the fact that it is going to be delayed. Like much worse is what happens now with 26 actually, if I'm honest. But we don't know that yet. So I'm not going to get angry about that until I know. And I probably won't get angry about that. I don't know. I'll tell you, I got very angry with FIFA 14. Not FIFA, FM14 on Vita, when they didn't update it, and they released that, by the way, April 11th, 2014, a month before the end of the season. They released Football Manager Classic, and I bought it, and it was buggy, and they never updated it, and I got banned off the forums as a result. Like, I'm not a shield for SI, but yeah, you just have to make good content. Yeah, certainly. I'll play some other games as well. Show women's football this week. It would have been good if they did that. Possibly, yeah. I think there will be something about women's football come out. There was clearly an event or something which they invited some female creators and industry people. Do you think they could skip FM25 if they can do a squad update? No, do I think they should skip? Okay, so I've seen a few people suggest skipping. So here's a few things, right? And I think I talked about this in the pod, but there are let's say three possibilities that are being floated that I don't think will happen. One is an update to 24. It would take too long to do, to have it out in time. It would take until March to get it ready, probably. Certainly with licenses. It would take people away from FM25. And it wouldn't provide any financial gain for them unless they charged for it, right? So rule that out. Like, it would be nice for us as consumers, but rule it out. And that was my problem, actually, with the Vita version. The second one is, why don't they just cancel it and put it out in 26? They have licensing agreements, they have partnership agreements, they have a publisher is an owning company that owns them. They're a studio underneath Sega. They have a company that owns them that has financial targets that they have to hit. They have Xbox, PlayStation, etc., Game Pass, Apple Arcade, Netflix that they have agreements with, and it costs them a lot of money if they don't put out a game at all. And then you apply exactly that same information to 2026 as well. But WWE 2K is only dealing with one partner, WWE. I don't remember who the publisher was, but WWE, you're right, WWE did, but the WWE made that decision in advance, right? WWE made that decision in advance. We've been lucky with SI. It's the first time we've had this kind of situation with them for over 20 years. It's not the first time. The Vita version did it, and the PlayStation version 2 years ago. But like, it's an example. The thing that was holding up the PlayStation version was that they couldn't get it approved on the PlayStation Store, and that held it up for 5 months. That's because of a legal issue, right? Or I don't know if it's a legal issue or technical issue, but essentially it didn't come out just on PlayStation. The rest of the game was ready. Just on PlayStation, it couldn't come out for 5 months. Like, it was exactly the same. Could be anything. Could be, it could be in the, it is in the contract. Used to see it as somebody's supermarket customer gets upset, demand things. I think they do. What about mods? I don't think there will be mods, if I'm honest. I don't know. It does. Unity does open the possibility for mods, but I think it's not something they've been. I mean, they're pretty open to databases, and they're pretty open to, like, so Sports Interactive put the bits of data that you're allowed to tweak very much in front of you. And they hide away the bits you're not allowed to tweak very much away from you. It's not like GTA where you've never seen anyone do a match engine mod for Foot Manager, for example. People have the right to be upset, but to come abuse and want heads to roll is ridiculous. Yeah, I think so. March is basically deadline for financial year. Yeah, it could be financial things. You know, financial things, game release calendar. March, January and February are notoriously bad for selling games. People don't have money. Bad time to market a game, etc. As a console player, expecting to not release FM25 at all. Depends what the problem is. Depends what holds it up. You skipped Foot Managers before. I have. I skipped Foot Managers. I was so annoyed in 2014. And this is not like people do call me a shill. I was so annoyed in 2014. I didn't buy the game for 3 years. Luckily, I was gifted the game. So I did actually end up playing it. But like, I never actually asked for it as a gift. And I said, I'm not buying it. I boycotted it for 3 years in a way. Because I was so annoyed at the responses on the forum or whatever. Like to the how they treated the Vita version. Because I'll tell you, on the Vita version, I was getting bugs and they were asking me to submit stuff and upload files, which getting them off the Vita onto the PC wasn't easy. And then they just gave no response. And I was like, you asked me to do all this stuff and you didn't even respond. You didn't even look into it, right? Like, what's going on? Similar example, Mozza took orders for a steering wheel, which used to be shipped with Xbox. They never shipped any, stopped taking orders a year later. The holdup was getting approved on Microsoft. Yeah. Why do I think no heads should roll? I didn't say I don't think no heads should roll. I said it's not for me to decide. I don't work at Sports Interactive. I don't work at Sega. I don't know who's responsible. And I don't know if it helped. And I don't know if it helped. Well, you know, why do that if it doesn't help? Yeah, it's good. Well, I'm very much like of the idea, like, why do you shouldn't just sack people. Like, I mean, if someone engages in gross negligence that causes like something very serious, maybe, but like this is not that. Come on, this is not that. Like, we're not talking about people getting killed or whatever here, right? Well, they're not doing it, but they're definitely not doing it on purpose. That's it, right? Like, I think a lot of people think they did this on purpose. Like, they announced it 10 days ago. Like, no, definitely. That's where, like, so one of the things I said was a tinfoil hat. That's what I mean. People who think they did this on purpose. Certainly not. Sadly, even key developers. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's going to help, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Like, I don't know what, like people saying, skip a year or whatever. Like, what do you want? Do you want the studio to close? Like, because that's what happens when these things happen. Like, generally, unless they're a particularly with a studio, like someone like Miles is pretty ingrained at that studio. Like, if he's going to leave, it's going to have to be on his terms, probably, and with a succession plan in place, not just, you know, I'm sure if it is on him, he's in trouble. But, you know, it's not for us to say he should be sacked or anything. I think that's I think it's out of order, if I'm honest. If someone said that about my job, it is from a physical view. For whose physical view? You as a consumer, or do you work at Sega? Because if you don't work at Sega or you don't work at Sports Interactive, it's not your, like, it doesn't matter, right? It's not gonna be one individual's fault. Making money every year should cover the next year. Yeah, but don't forget they're funded by the publisher. Oh, I'm sure they make profits, but the profits go to the company that they're owned by, which is Sega. Like, and here's the sad truth about development: a game can make profit. But it's how much profit a game makes that decide, or a studio makes that decides whether it survives. If a game makes like you know, cost to revenue turnover of like 1% profit, no, they'd be better off investing their money elsewhere. So that's what they'll do. Sega will pull the plug, put the money somewhere else. That's how business works. It's weird, right? You think they're making a profit, keep doing it. No, I can make 10%. Sega will go, we can make 10%, we can make 550% returns by taking that £3 million development cost. I don't know how much it is. Taking that £3 million development cost and chucking out another Yakuza game or another Sonic game, right? It's like the finances aren't, it's not just, oh, they make money, they can keep doing it. Soft and easily offended. I think so. I'm sounding like a shill again now, but like I'm not. I'm just trying to like give some perspective on how business works. SI is no longer the SI before Sega. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Aging market and is a year of irrelevance. Is it an aging market? Like, have you got the market data? Why do you think the game has gone from 500,000 players to 10 million players in 2 years? And do you think it would be wise to sack the studio director who oversaw that as well? If so, like, that's what I'm on about, right? They would need the money coming to their accounts for financial years. Financial year ends. Yeah, I'm sure that's why they put it out. Well, yeah, but the point is Sega needs returns, right? Like, this happened once. It could like, you know, I mean, yeah, you need to do something about it, but like, you know, no, it's not someone's fault. They're flogging it to FIFA fanboys. Aging market. You'd be surprised. I think if you saw the demographics of Football Manager, I think you'd be surprised. If Liverpool sacked Klopp when you didn't qualify for Champions League, yeah, I mean, sometimes it happens, but, well, or no, if like Man United sacked Ferguson the year he didn't win the Premier League, right? He doesn't win anything for 1 year. The average age of the player base has lowered. Yeah, it definitely has. Even though I think people call Miles' head is out of order, he does. I mean, you can criticize him, but you don't even know if it's him. Why did, like, how did none of us know? He's the one overseeing development? Is he? He's the studio head, yeah. Doesn't mean he's the one overseeing the project this year or any year. He might be overseeing FM28 at this point. You know, that might be his priority. You know, like, my point is, 10 days ago, Sega says to them, no, you have to release in November, right? And then it's on Miles or whoever who goes back and says, hey, we can't. Like, if we chuck it out in 10 days, in a month, it's going to be broken and we're going to destroy consumer trust. And Sega go, no. And he goes, okay, we got to put out Sega's saying we have to put out a press release. Let's put out our press release 10 days ago, right? And then he put out the press release, and then he goes back to Sega and says, Sega, look, like, we really can't do this. It's worse than we thought. Maybe marginally worse. Like, we need that time. Whoever, like, maybe probably not Miles. I don't know. You don't like the sack Miles? Yeah, like it's a man's job. It is arrogant, entitled. That guy's led the studio for 20 years. You like, I don't care if people like or dislike Miles. I mean, I'd obviously I'd prefer if people were nice to him or whatever. But like, don't call for his job. That's a man's job. That's a man's livelihood, right? Like, that's a studio that he's built, that he's grown. He's grown it from 500,000 players to 10 million players in the last 3 years, right? Both complicit. So what do you want to do? Well, like, it's not your decision or my decision to sack him or anyone at the studio, or to even decide if anyone should get sacked, or if that it would even help. Why would that help? Why do you think that helps? He's the one doing the interviews talking about his new features. That's because he's a figurehead for the company. Like, it depends on the nature of whose role and why, and if it even is, right? What if someone at the bottom of the chain went to him and said, "Hey, boss, I'm a bit behind on my work, like maybe about 6 months," and he goes, "What do you mean?" "Well, you remember that thing we were supposed to finish 3 months ago? We haven't finished it." He said, "Well, why are you only telling me now?" What is he supposed to say? Oh, he can't chuck the person at the bottom under the bus, can he? You can't say, "Yeah, sorry, Dave, who's works on the match engine. Yeah, he's been slacking off. So, or he's just a bit slow, right? So sorry guys, you're part of Dave. Can't do that, can he?" People don't want to understand, definitely not. People just want to be angry. I understand why people are angry. I understand why people are disappointed. It'd be a lot better for Sports Interactive and the player base if there was some competition. Probably. Yeah, I don't disagree. If we had a competing game, but I don't think it's going to happen with the scale of the data that they collect. I'd rather have the only way I'll tell you the only way it happens, the only way that kind of thing would happen is if Sports Interactive splintered into two parts, the research part and the game part, or B, and the research part sold the data or passed the data on, or B, a third party organization decides to collect that information and data and sell it or pass it on. I don't think a game studio would take it on. I think it would have to be someone who's doing it for some other reason. You'd rather have the guy with 20 years experience. Yeah, right? Exactly. Where am I getting 3 million players from? I'm not getting 3 million players. 500,000 to 10 million. It's Sports Interactive's data. They've shared it before. Actually, it's 12 million this year, right? Pre-pandemic, it was, I don't know, 500,000, 600,000. You can find the sales data because it was only on Steam anyway. I think there are only two possibilities, really. One is that EA decide to do it again, and I don't think they will because I don't think the money's in it for EA. Like I said, return on investment. EA are better off putting their money into a bigger. EA put their money into less and bigger titles or into smaller indie titles. Not these kind of niche titles, right? So EA could have been one, would be one, and the other one's probably Codemasters, who are actually no, Codemasters are part of EA, so probably not. And they've been working on racing games for the last 30 years now, 20 years. Realize how important familiarity with the UI is to continuity. Yeah, well, they've been working on it since 2020. Entitlement because one game is delayed. I know, right? Like, I mean, no one's calling for. I mean, could you imagine, right? Do you know how many times GTA was been delayed in history, right? And I've never seen anyone suggest that their brothers, I don't remember their names, but the brothers who like create GTA get sacked, or like the head of CD Projekt Red gets sacked because Cyberpunk was delayed or whatever, or Or could you imagine if they sacked the guy, what's his name? The Hello Games guy, who makes No Man's Sky. And like, No Man's Sky's turned out to be one of the best games about. Bad launch, but otherwise, Sam and Dan Hoser, that's it. They both left because, they left because of other reasons, but GTAs were delayed before. They quite literally lied. Lied about what? Like, I think you've got to, I mean, are you guys really, like, honestly, like, I mean, this is my other problem, right? Like, if this is the scale of the lie, I hate that gets people upset. I hate to think what people would think when they learn about like what politicians do or whatever. Like really? Like, I don't think they lied either. FM does rarely miss. Yeah. What did they lie about? I'm curious. You want to say they lied about the release date and then they moved it? Guess what? That happens. Like you'd be accusing pretty much the entire game industry if you said that. Everyone in the which SI or SI? I don't know which way you're saying. Apparently, I just named myself after them because I'm a complete shill. That's the real reason. CD Projekt Red did go corporate. Witcher 3 was delayed a bit. Cyberpunk went for a bit of the same issue. Scrapped and start again. Yeah, but those are not yearly. Has he gone missing? Like, well, because he didn't make the statement. The studio made the statement. I'm sure he'll say something next week or whatever. Or maybe see, the man gets a lot of hate unjustifiably. Like, he gets death threats. I'm sure people, like, if you were getting death threats because you're a studio, if you're the head of a video game studio, come on, people need to get real. Like, it's ridiculous. They said FM was coming out, right? So they said FM was coming out and they said a roadmap and they didn't do it. So they didn't really, I mean, did they lie to you? Like, if I said to you, right, okay, let me say to you this. If I said to you, I'm going to stream next Friday, I'm going to stream Football Man, I'm going to stream FIFA, right? I'm going to stream to you next Friday, I'm going to stream FIFA. And Tuesday comes and I go, change of plan. My PlayStation's broken, so I can't play FIFA. Did I lie to you? Like, and would you be angry about that? Come on. Like, no. Worse would be if they told you, if they lied, said, this is in the game, that's in the game, and it wasn't in there. But, like, if that's the case, they just never tell you anything again. Like, if that's what you want them to do, then that's what they'll do. The Magic Triangle project manager, on time, on spec, and on budget. Yeah, it's impossible, right? They would have long-term target. They wanted to get it done. With these targets, they don't hit them. Yeah, I've had targets I've not hit in the past before. Took CG Project Red more than 2 years to properly fix. Is it a lie because they took pre-orders? Yeah, they said, sorry, make sure people get refunded. They made a mistake. I mean, if you want to use the word lie, then sure, whatever, they lied. But I don't think, like, you need to get a, like, I don't think it's not a malicious, like, I guess you ask the question, is it a malicious lie or not? Right? Like, we lie all the time. Will they release FM26? Do I think they'll release FM26 later? Maybe, but I don't know. Did they release the new features they literally just said they would? No, because they put this statement out instead. Is a lie really a lie if you mean it at the time? Yeah, exactly. Well, first that, like, if something's the truth at the time and then turns into a lie, or even if it's not, like, you know, I think, like, the scale of it is not that even that bad, is it? They released pre-orders, knew the game. Did they? Who knew? Like, I mean, you're also forgetting that this is a big organization with multiple moving parts, right? You've got a marketing team, you've got a sales team, you've got the leadership, you've got the team that are making the teams that are making the game. You've got Sega, the publisher. You've got partners, right? Well, like, the sales and the marketing team are separate from those other teams. Anyways, talk your wallet. If you're upset, don't buy the game. Well, yeah, that's it, right? Like, don't get angry. Just don't buy the game. Like, no, they haven't taken money off you, Victor Nico Williams. Steam always allows you to refund. Do you know what? It makes me... Actually, this is a separate point, right? But do you know what makes me laugh? People are always so quick to talk positively about Steam and Gabe Newell and stuff. Like, and how bad other storefronts are and things. But, like, Steam is, like, actually one of the worst. They basically had to be strong-armed into being allowed to be giving people refunds. But, like, people are automatically positive towards Steam. I mean, people say that about me, Nuds, though. People are saying that I was talking about, like, you know, I don't know. Like, they said I'm a donor on the FM show today. So, it's, they should communicate with each other. They're bound by rules. Yeah, all of them are. If Sega says you got to announce your release date on this date, you'll do it. They should communicate. They should communicate. And there's been a breakdown in communication. Doesn't mean that they purposefully didn't tell you. Like, you know, the marketing team might not have been part of those discussions. I mean, if you tell your marketing team something, like, and you're like in your ear, you're trying to convince Sega. Like, they might not have got the okay from Sega to even do this until yesterday. Like, well, who says they had an okay? Like, 2 weeks ago, they might not have had the okay. 2 weeks ago, it might have been, no, you have to ship it. Should they just not release info? No, because they're told to release info. You know, just not release info to try and avoid... So even if so you think they should go against the company that owns them? Is that what you're saying? I mean, if that's what you're saying, like, well, I hate to break it to you. The world doesn't work that way. Marketing person is handing out CVs. It's scamming. No, if you pre-ordered it, go get your refund. Like, honestly... I think a lot of people are being like, I mean, that's the other thing, right? A lot of people are being angry. I bet none of the people who are angry about the pre-order thing have pre-ordered it. Hey, I want to know in the chat, if you actually, fuck it, let's do a poll. Right, here we go. Had you already pre-ordered? Yes, and not got refund. Yes, and got refund. No. Right, there we go. Simple poll. Simple poll. You didn't pre-order, doesn't concern you. Right, I don't think anyone has. Like, I mean, some people clearly did, but not that many. Not that many. You get it free. I bet most people get it for free at Game Pass. I want to see if there's one person. I bet there's one person who ticked. So who's the one person who said yes and didn't get a refund? I want to know who the one person who said yes and not got. And is that of choice? And what store did you buy from? Who's the one person who's... I bet there's a troll. I bet a troll has pressed that to be malicious. Normally buy when it's released. Is it you, Beyond Ultra? Right, and what... Okay, he's not a troll then. Well, maybe you are trolling it. And why did you press that, Beyond Ultra? And are you angry? Like... No one, anyone who's pressed the bottom one doesn't have any right to be angry on anyone else's behalf. No. There we go. Anyone who says no has no right to be angry on anyone else's behalf. Like, just put the pitchfork down. If you're arguing so strongly, is given to you by a bigger streamer. Everything's not black and white. Yeah. Right. So some streamers will try and like manufacture outrage because it's good for them right now. Okay. So here's another thing. A lot of the full-time content creators are understandably upset because it creates a lot of uncertainty for them. Like, factor that in as well to their reactions. Wasn't going to get the game anyway. There you go. Don't pre-order because you expect them to deliver on time. Pre-order because you think you like the building. Yeah, and they didn't show anything of it yet, right? I don't like it when some players voice their concern and other players or creators dismiss their concerns. I don't think it's about dismissing concerns. But I think your concerns have to come. I think you're allowed concerns, but your concerns have to come from a genuine place, not the world of make believe. Like, some of the concerns are that Sports Interactively deliberately did it this way, or some of the concerns are like, oh, women's football is the cause of it. Oh, come on, like you're not coming from a genuine place when you make this claim. It's like response on Twitter. I mean, I just felt like the responses to the FM show I had today was pretty like, people were gunning for me a little bit in the comments. I was like, Jesus, I'm just trying to give some perspective on why it is how it is. I'm not shilling for the company. Right. You didn't get scammed, you never pre-ordered. Yeah, exactly. If was worried about the financial side. Well, I guess, Sass, it is like it. I mean, maybe, but like it's disappointing for them still, right? Like they're allowed to be worried still. Like they're saying to me with in my job in real life, like I put all my eggs in one basket in my industry in real life that I work in. And if that industry goes under, which it might do, which is the university sector, because the government's not doing anything about it, and the last government actively made decisions that worked against the university sector, then, what, is that my fault that I put all my eggs in the basket of the university industry? I don't think so. It's a viable career path. 100 things. Could be 200 things. Fix failing IT and digital. There's never bad intentions. Probably not, no. A million variables, yeah. Definitely. It is a disappointment to everyone, but things happen, certainly. Yeah, they said go get a refund. They haven't done it to try and get money. Like, it's going to cost them more. I already said that. The refunds will cost them more. It's like Concord. Like, people are like, oh, Concord was a scam. Concord wasn't a scam. That thing cost them more money than they did it. Was it silly on their part? You're implying that it's... Well, silly is not really the word I would use. They shot themselves in the foot. Yeah, of course they did. Like, I'm not saying they didn't shoot... I'm not saying they didn't shoot themselves in the foot. Like, it's clear from the optics they have, right? It's clear from people's response they have. But, some things are unavoidable. Isn't given more slack. They do want to be out. Honestly, I mean, I don't know how much people follow, like, the wider gaming industry. But, like, just go follow Concord. Like, look at the talk around Concord. People wanted that game to fail. People wanted it to fail. There were more videos about Concord a day than people playing it. Which tells you, like, everything, right? Like, it's ridiculous. And it's like this world that wants, internet outrage into, like, maybe it's been a bit boring for a while. Maybe it's been a bit too boring, a bit too quiet in a bit too safe in the FM space for too long, right? We haven't had any outrages for a while. We got rid of the transphobes, hopefully. We got rid of the homophobes, hopefully. We're slowly getting rid of the sexists, hopefully. So, like, okay, what's the next outrage? I'm not saying that people who do, take these views fit in with those things. I'm just saying, where's the outrageous things happening? Most people won't care. There's 10 million players. What, 40 people on Twitter? Like, look, there's still only one person who says yes, they pre-ordered and not got a refund. It's better marketing than a great delivery ever got them. Yeah, maybe. Imagine the game looks amazing in January. I mean, it doesn't make any difference to how good the game goes. Yeah, I'm gutted as well, Frages. I'm gutted as well. Look, EAFC is in a far worse position. Last year, everyone was going to boycott EAFC this year. It's top of the charts. You read toxic positivity. You imagined imagined a year would be enough to change to Unity. No, they've been working on it since 2020, Ricardo. They've been working on it for 5 years. It was supposed to come out 3 years ago. 2022 was supposed to be the first Unity year. Or 2023. 2022, I think. The outrage is silly. They have a good track record. Yeah, right? Like, meeting a yearly release nearly year on year. Like, FIFA has literally done a data update some years. You see how many people, there's people with different ways of lives, views. People don't know You don't know who say things you don't like. Yeah. Well, like, it's not worth people falling out over this or getting angry at anyone. Like, that's what I'm saying. And it's not worth people, and it's definitely not worth people saying it's this person's fault, this person's job, this person needs to take the blame, these people need to have their heads put on spikes. Definitely not. Like, that's my point, right? Well, don't, what, okay, right. So what? They made a mistake with putting pre-orders up. What do you want? And then I see people where they should be offering refunds. Then it's literally in the statement. I saw a post with 10 comments saying they need to offer refunds. It's a disgrace. But I saw like this massive thread, and I'm like, do people read? It literally says in the statement there, go get your refund. Like, honestly, FIFA 19 now is the same game with the roster update. Yeah, like the console, especially on like old consoles and stuff. Yeah, just get on with your job, right? Like. I don't think any of this helps anyone. I don't agree with all the things all content creators said today or yesterday. But I don't need to get angry at it. And I can disagree with them without getting angry at them. Or being rude to them, whatever, right? I will be rude to people who are sexist. I will say that right now. I will be rude to people who say things like, death threats to Miles or whatever. There you go, look. So no, one person pre-ordered the game and didn't get a refund. Out of 17 of us here, right? Cyberpunk now is one of the best games. Yes, so is No Man's Sky. Like, some people go, oh, I never know of any examples where they turned it around. Well, there's two right there. Like, come on. Even Call of Duty's been in like awful positions at some point. They turned it around. FIFA was in an awful position at one point. They turned it around. Championship Manager 4 was delayed. Championship Manager 4 was delayed. FM23 on PlayStation was delayed. FM Classic 2014 on Vita was delayed. It's happened. Like, the difference this time is the full game. I guess Championship Manager 4 was the same. Yeah, people asked to buy the game. You don't care about women's football. You don't watch it. You don't watch all the other stuff, right? But people do care about that. Imagine if they took non-league football out of football. I feel like a lot of people didn't understand what I was trying to say. So I don't know if any of probably those people wouldn't come in here anyway now. They probably hate me, so they would think I'm a donut. So if you are one of those people and I convinced you as to the logic behind my reasoning, hopefully that helped. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Like, the way I talk to you here in the Twitch chat, like, a lot more of you, not all of you, but a lot more of you seem to agree with what I said. Whereas if you went and looked on the comments on that on that YouTube video, you would think that, like, what I said was, crazy. You prefer to see the current features get, yeah, but I think having women's football in the game is important. I think not only is it, I think it's important from a statement, and I think it's too late actually. I think they should have done it 3 years ago. But I understand it's not a small undertaking, and I think they've taken it seriously. How do you know that people disagreeing with you? They weren't Java generating bots. Maybe they were. I don't know. Maybe I didn't articulate myself very well. This is an entirely possible thing for me to do. Is women's football still in AFC? Yeah, it's big in the AFC. They put it in Ultimate Team last year, and like I got some massive cards last year. I can understand. I mean, a part of it is it's very raw, and a lot of people are very upset, and that turns into anger, right? Because they were looking forward to the game. New engine, they're not adding women's football being added. It's the new engine they're adding. Well, okay. So part of the reason they needed to do the new engine is because they needed a way to do women's football. But I think the game needed, we all know that the game needed a new engine anyway. So the addition of women to it, that makes no difference, right? That's exactly it. Like, yes, they did need a new engine for women's football. But yes, they needed a new engine anyway because the old engine is like dog shit old now. Here's the thing, if all three people complain constantly, it's not good. Well, that's the other thing. Like, I had to provide a counterpoint to, well, not only to RDF and Tony, but to the wider space. Like, what's the point in me just repeat? If we did that podcast, right, and me, Tony, and RDF all agreed, and we all said exactly the same thing that, I don't know, Jack at the space said 5 hours earlier. Well, what's the point in an hour-long podcast? Women's football will be a great addition. Yeah, I think more people are going to play women's football than they think. Maybe they only play it the first year or whatever. But because it's fluid, it's just part of a journeyman now. Do you know? So I said this. One reason I'm looking forward to women's football in the game. One of the reasons I'm excited about women's football is because it gives me the opportunity to play a game where I don't know who or what the majority of players are. How good they are. It's like having a whole database of new gens almost, but these are real people and I get to learn about them. And it takes me back to when I was a kid and I used to go like load up LMA Manager or Championship Manager or whatever and learn about the players. I used to read Goal Magazine or Score Magazine and learn about the players. And it's like that. I'm like, oh, this Sam Kerr, what a finisher she is. Like, I need to get her in my team, right? Like, that's it's like a world of wonder and curiosity and discover that I don't get in the men's game, because I know who, like, other than the Wonder Kids, I know who, like, we know what Messi does, we know what Higuain does. Well, no, Higgy's retired, but you know what they do. Will be mainly used for journeymans. I think some people will do one. I think a lot of people add it into their challenges. I think a lot of people will do one club, 2 teams challenges. They will try and win something with the women's and the men's. Running Bristol City men and women. I'm doing a women's save. The women's mode in FIFA flopped. The women's mode in FIFA flopped when it was introduced, because it was only introduced in career mode, and it was like, that was it, and it was like subpar. Like, there wasn't a reason to do it. Like in FIFA, so the thing with FIFA career mode is you don't jump around. Like, not many people like jump around clubs and do like Road to Glories and stuff like that in FIFA career mode. And like, you couldn't just jump from the men's game to the women's game or whatever. Whereas like in FM, you'll be able to. I think if I get sacked today and then tomorrow Barcelona women want me as the manager, I'll be like, it seems like a natural career progression. Why not? Let's go do it. Decagon challenge, yeah. FM community is a bit wild. They're doomsayers, doom mongering. People saying women's football game is silly and wrong. People literally playing the third tier in Japan. Exactly right, Corey. How many people were excited about Japan last year? And like, who knows anything about Japanese football? Like, maybe I couldn't, 2 years ago, I probably couldn't even name you many Japanese teams. Whether women's football have different meta attributes. The screenshots are interesting because they had some new positions, right? That we had, and it was only on Frank Kirby, and it wasn't on Evan Ferguson. It was a bit weird. Curious to ask people to play FM, what do you think of the postpone to March Irishman? I have been talking about it for the last hour and 20. But if you would like a summary, I'm still excited about the game. I'm disappointed. I think we're all disappointed it's delayed. But if that's what it needs, that's what it needs. That's what it needs. I think everyone's disappointed, but I don't think it is what it is. Like, no amount of anger is gonna change it. You see the same attributes men have, only the women's attributes are relative to other women. You can't compare them. Yeah, the women's attributes are only relative. So if Sam Kerr has a finishing of 18, that doesn't mean she has the same level of finishing as Harry Kane. That just means it's relative to all, but it does mean that she has better finishing than Frank Kirby, right? It's like relative to other players in the women's or men's game, which is fine because it doesn't matter because they're not facing each other head to head. Yeah, Kirby had the new roles. Yes, March. I mean, the other thing is it's delayed till March, but it's delayed till March, but they are doing advanced access now, which could be in February. So it's a 4-month delay, but is it once you add it? Well, it is, but as a studio, is it once you add in Christmas, right? So they were going to give it, was it the last week of November? So you got to think, right, December and January are almost always write-offs anyway, or very difficult to get anything done during those periods because of leave and even if you imagine everyone only has 2 weeks leave. If different parts of the team are waiting on things from different people, it creates delays and staggers and things like that. If one person's off and they're waiting for someone else to do something and they can't start their bit till this person's done theirs, it's a ripple on everything. And then suddenly you're into February, and then we get advanced access. It could be it could literally be 2 weeks worth of work that we're waiting on.